What is strategy? If you ask any random person, they will probably give you some sort of convoluted answer that has a lot of maybe hard to understand words, but means very little. If you ask a business professor, they will give you a 3-page description of what strategy is and what it is not. And if you ask any entrepreneur, they will likely just shrug their shoulders and say, the thing that I do every day. But what is that thing that you do every day? For me, I was doing strategy for a very long time, both in business sense and in particularly in within the organizations, kind of putting together lists, plans, initiatives, and values, and mission and vision, and all of these things that normally become associated with strategy. And for the longest time, I was looking at all this stuff, all this information that we would create, all these documents we would put together. And I was wondering, what, how useful is it? How, how much of this stuff that we create is actually going to make a difference in the future? And from initiatives, actions, and all of these things, these words and these documents that we put together as like this bedrock of what strategy is. And for the longest time, I couldn't understand that, why that was. And then one day, I was watching one of videos on YouTube. I can't quite recall who it was, and the explanation that I heard kind of made me fully understand why what strategy was and why we focused when we did strategy. We kind of ignored what the real strategy was. Um, First, let me talk about what I understand strategy to be. Strategy is the decision you make of about what to do and what not to do. That's it. That's all it is. What are you going to do and what are you not going to do? That's it. Making decisions. That sounds on the surface as something very easy. Yeah, decide what to do and what not to do. The problem comes in is when you realize that the decision that you need to make comes on the foreground of this thing in the background that's kind of there but it's not visible, and you may not fully understand what is that thing in the background. That thing in the background is unlimited options and limited resources. So the decision that you need to make is within the context of having very many things that you could do and very few things that you can actually do, because there's only one of you or whatever it is. There's limited resources. And that makes strategy difficult because those decisions become real, because those decisions now have consequences. So when most organizations talk about strategy, talk about mission, vision, values, initiatives, actions, categories, themes, and all of these things that they put into these big documents. The reason why they do all of that is because they're trying to avoid making decisions about what to do, about the choices that they have, and the limited resources that they have to make those decisions come to reality. Now, why am I talking about all of this here? For the longest time, I thought strategy was just about business, just about on how to run the business. And then I realized that strategy is about life in general, how we go about doing things that we do. And it's very applicable when you actually understand what strategy is. It's very applicable to marketing. Marketing is how you tell people about your business, your services, and what you do, about how you expose your business to the market. But in order for marketing to work, what you need to have is the ability to focus on a specific audience, on a specific position. And the decision to focus on that specific position, on that specific audience, means that you have to ignore the rest of it. And when we as marketers and we as entrepreneurs decide to focus on this one particular position, immediately we get this feeling of regret. But what about serving all of these people? There's a lot more of those people. Let's say you're an executive coach and you're focusing on executives in, let's say, in technology companies on the West Coast. Now, how many are there? How many executives on the West Coast are there? Probably several thousand, maybe a few thousand, maybe 10,000, 20,000. Now, how many of them are in the tech company space? Maybe 1,000 to 2,000. These numbers are just an example. They could be bigger, they could be smaller. What I'm trying to illustrate here is that if you decide to focus on executives, your executive coach, being an executive coach for executives in tech companies on the West Coast, you eliminate not only the executives everywhere else in the world, not only the tech executives everywhere else in the world, you eliminate tech executives specifically in within that your area that you're focusing on. Even if you just focus on, say, California, you're narrowing down. So the number of executives that you will be focused on becomes small, and the number of executives that you're not focusing on is big. And when you look at these two numbers, your mind goes, oh, there's a lot more executives that I'm not focusing on, and I'm only focusing on this small number. What if I would focus on the rest of these executives, not just these ones? I will have a bigger market. And that becomes this kind of self-perpetuating, like, oh, what if I just focus on all the executives in the West Coast? Well, but there's a bigger market in the United States and North America and the world and all that. So all these executives. So there's a never-ending kind of goal, and you can't really target. The problem with this is you can't target everybody, even all the executives. But you can target very specifically and reach very easily and very cheaply a very specific group. And once you've reached that group and you've become known to them, you've become business from them, you can take that experience, that group, and you can expand it slowly. And that's what strategy is. Strategy is deciding to focus in on a very specific problem, on a very specific result that you want to achieve, a very specific goal that you want to get, a very specific challenge that you want to solve, that you want to overcome. Putting all your effort into solving that challenge, and once you're done, picking the next one. It's not about having 15 goals. It's not about having 15 different target audiences. It's about having a very specific one, very specific goal, hitting it, getting it done, winning there, and then slowly beginning to expand by focusing on other areas. The interesting thing about all of this is that the more narrow you are, the more appealing you become, not just to your target audience, but to others, because everybody on the outside sees how successful you are, and the question in their mind goes, well, they're very similar to what I do. Could you help me too? And then that's how you kind of shift your audience, to shift your target audience from one to the other and expand and grow and grow and grow and grow and become a generic executive coach in this particular example. So I just wanted to this is a Sunday type rant. I just wanted to talk about that quickly. If you are looking to get more leads and you don't know how, download the roadmap in the description. It will kind of give you a step-by-step guide on how to go from having no leads to getting leads and then converting them into clients. And then if you have any questions, you can follow the roadmap and then contact me and then book a session to discuss further your plans and your ideas. All right, I will see you next time.